What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to the channel. So we're jumping in today with some solo leveling Arise content. It's been a while. Along with ASUS messing up my RMA process for my motherboard and the holidays, I haven't seen you guys in quite some time. But I'm jumping back in with some solo leveling, so let's talk about it really quickly. So number one, we did get some updates today with our patch. Not a very big patch, but just some little changes that I think, we'll see. But we already had Isu Rodriu in the game, and I've enjoyed the character basically coming in. It's a very cute, type demonish character. So we kind of expected this was going to come soon, right? But I think that the inclusion of her has somewhat of the fan base a little bit upset, because she basically becomes a gimmick character to make the fire characters that were trash in the first place somewhat useful with the introduction of the new Workshop of Brilliant Light. And therefore, we get the update that brings back around Gina as a pullable character, which to some degree, I guess you want to pull on that character because why not, right? I guess. So we're basically looking at that character basically being back in the game because, Isil's going to make her and some of the other fire characters a little bit more powerful, which will make your time in the Workshop Brilliant Light demos a lot easier. Along with that, we had the introduction of the new Fan of the Fire Demon, which has some really nice effects on it that will boost your fire damage and cause some heavy break damage as well. And it's going to probably be one of those items you want to get to at least a 5 if you look at some of the abilities in there, with it impacting greatly the way that you play the game. I think that this overall is a pretty good update in terms of those, but I think it's a little lackluster in terms of the way that it affects us with how we look at the new Workshop of Brilliant Light for the Commander of Transfiguration, Deimos. I think a lot of people feel disheartened because they invested all of this time and currency into the light team, and then we basically got this. And yeah, you probably feel a little disappointed because the main team that should be powering through this is going to be a fire team that is gimmicked. It is a gimmick. It is 100%. Not much that we can do about that. But let's talk about the dev note that was released along with the patches, because I think that is important. So let's take a look at this. So number one, the dev note does cover down on shadows. So we're gonna get this new shadow, the Witch Bestie. We've seen her inside the Encore missions before, so now we're gonna get her, the Ice Queen, inside of the shadows. Along with this, we're gonna get the shadow armament system, which is essentially gonna allow us to equip weapons to shadow armaments. This is kind of in keeping with the manhwa, so I like the inclusion of this. If you remember back in season 1, I think it was, or season 2, I can't remember when it was, but Sun Jin Woo essentially gets the Orb of Avarice for the first time. He realizes this is not necessarily a weapon for him, but that doesn't mean that it's not valuable, because he can give it over to like Tusk, for instance, and Tusk can use it as a mage as well and increase their fire damage, his shadows fire damages as well. So this is a good inclusion, I think, overall into the game. Looking forward to this shadow armament system there. I think that is also in kind of keeping too with maybe seeing a little bit more life into the shadows, but we'll see how that pans out, because I think a lot of us want to see more of the shadows, because the shadows are pretty damn important inside the manhwa and inside the television show. Next up, we're looking at the first clears for the hard mode for Deimos. So we got some clear times there for Vulcan and Baron, and then we're looking at Deimos coming down the pack. So how long do you guys think it's going to take? Take a guess in the comment section below. I'm going to go with about 20 minutes. Deimos has, I appreciate the mechanics that they've put around Deimos. We've come some way from Vulcan's mechanics, which to lasted then to Baron's, and now the mechanics that we have in Deimos, they're but twofold. A little bit of annoyance in some areas, but pretty decent inside some areas. I think they need to get better at the tracking of the time, so that way it doesn't always just feel like a DPS check in terms of the time. To be perfectly honest with you, I'd almost prefer that they just took away the time check, the time hack against fighting the boss, period. And just let us battle the boss for as long as we want to battle the boss, and as long as it takes us to battle the boss. I wouldn't be too mad at that. I don't know why we necessarily need to have the timer on with the exception of the fact that it's a DPS. But I think it would make for some very interesting clears if you were to go in there and say that you had like a level 1 Sun Jin Woo and you want to see if he can clear Deimos, because then you could see that a player would be sitting around and maybe trying to battle Deimos and it take him 10 hours, or it takes him, 15 hours or something like that to do it with a Sun Jin Woo who's just at start. It'd be very interesting to see that. That's all I'm saying from there. I remember at one point playing The Witcher 3, and that game was very open world, and I got Quinn and I went out and I went to fight a dragon. It didn't make a difference that my Geralt was low leveled as hell. I spent that whole time battling Geralt. So I almost wish they would do that, just so that way it'd be more interesting to see some of the stipulations players could put on themselves in battling some of these bosses and clearing things. Not just who's doing it the quickest, but who's also maybe making hard clear conditions for themselves as well. So next up, we have a new hunter, or some new people come into the game. You've probably seen her already inside the game hub. I don't want to spoil this for you if you haven't seen her, and if you don't know who he is as well. But we've got 2 new characters coming in a way. Next up, they addressed some questions that they basically had in the game from the community. One being the Shadow General rank affecting Iron's defense, decreased skill, and wanting those to be priority. They made the Serbi's combustion skills so that way it was applied appropriately. And in the February update, they're going to make the improvements to Iron's defense, decreased skill. There's no reward history simulation gate. Essentially, they're going to make it so that way the simulation gate AI UI is a little bit better and so forth. Simulation gate has been a little bit of a mixed bag for me, but I appreciate the items that it brought to the game. The boss on the 50th floor of Battlefield of Trials, Wolf Shepherd Roke, is a little too hard for players, apparently. I did not know that it's had such a high enough failure rate that even the devs were like, well, yeah, we got to bring this down just because of how high it is. Personally, I'll leave that as alone and just be like, just get good, get strong. Like, that's the whole theme of the game, is getting, Sun Jin Woo goes in some place and he gets his butt kicked, but realizes, hey, I got to go do the grind so that way I can power up. But I guess some players just need the instant gratification as well. There's a sense of boredom for only attacking the same boss, Guild Boss Power of Destruction. So they specifically are saying here, Guild Boss Fakna the Dragon is going to take a little bit of a rest, take a little back seat. The Ant Queen is going to make their appearance, and you're going to have a Guild Boss and Cooperative Event Boss. Hopefully the Cooperative Event Boss is going to be a little bit better than the Jeju Alliance Raid, which is cooperative against all servers, because God, that one to me was a complete miss, but we'll see. So then they're going to tell players that they have a way for you to do something with the shards from Baron, since if you've already cleared up all his remnant of power passives and so forth like that. Take a look at them and see what you go. And then they are going to make the monthly subscription a permanent discount item inside the store, instead of it being like, hey, discount, like just make it permanent at this point. I wish more or less that they would get rid of, because we've got like 3 almost monthly subscriptions. Get rid of 2 of them and just combine all of them, make them one single price. I get, trying to add some sort of like reason for you to buy each one, and that's the total price of it. But, or you can, the way they're handling the monthly subscription to me is just a little bit terrible with the battle passes. We've got like 3 or 4 battle passes that we're paying, 3 or 4 monthly subscriptions. It just, there's a little much to me. Please add more bosses to instance dungeons and hardcore missions. Guys, let them cook. You got to give them some time. This is not even a long anime, to be perfect. Long manhwa, to be perfectly honest. I think it's like less than 200 chapters. Let these guys cook. They're doing a great job with building out the universe of Sun Jin Woo. So give them some time to let them, let these guys cook, man. Let them do what they're doing. They're doing a great job of adding, side characters, side pieces, side stories to build out this world of solo leveling. Let them cook. If it came out to you too fast, then you'd be complaining about it too fast, and then we go back to your board of fighting the same bosses and stuff like that. Let them cook. Like, these 2 things almost like really reflect on just that, balance of trying to meet the community's demands while also like trying to chart out a roadmap that works. They're also planning on giving Sun Jin Woo a new job change with the March update. They also talked about the player bans that were erroneous and how they went to restore those and apologizing for those. We definitely have a welcome spring, or February Valentine event that's coming up. So we'll see what that looks like. This is a great little image inside there. And then they also have the memorial. So we're going to get the introduction of the first memorial hunter to visit the hunters, will be from the Valkyrie Guild. So I don't know if this is like an entirely new person, but I don't remember another one. Because if you notice here, it's talk about where the ruler spun using the Cup of Reincarnation. I don't want to necessarily talk about the rulers just because that's somewhat spoilers for people, but if you've read the manhwa, you know who the rulers are. This looks like there's a time before time, so this would be prequel type stuff to the game. Yeah, they also have a new montage video for the first half of the game, I guess, is if you were to look at it like that. It's a really cool montage of the things that they've put out for the game. Really cool OST track as well. So go over to the YouTube page and check it out. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It'd be a nice intro for even for the anime, to be perfectly honest. And then you can see here that they're currently facing the dilemma, right? That they have players who have reached the peak of growth in the game, and they are looking for ways to motivate those players. For one respect, you do have to recognize that the whales move the game forward steadily. You need whales in order to play, and some of those whales have spent to their heart's content that now the game is basically easy mode. Well, most often the cases, my response is stop spending so damn much money. Take your time, slow the fuck down. Excuse my language. Sorry, guys. Slow down. And but at the same token, I recognize the need to have whales inside games, especially gacha type games, so that way the game can continue to go forward with development. So they're trying to find ways to basically balance that inside the game and make the farming experience a little bit more enjoyable. So you have that. Lastly, they do have a new SOLODEVNOTE23 coupon code. So make sure that you go check that one out. You're going to get some weapon custom draw tickets. Can't beat those, especially right now. And then the weapon enhancement gear 3 times 20 and a precision design times 2. So far, the game has been wildly successful for me. I'm really enjoying it, especially when the anime is filming, airing at the same time. Just brings that level of excitement of seeing the new content that they're going to release inside the anime and the content that they've released here. Especially, you get that better feeling of how the world's being fleshed out in this game by these developers compared to the fast-paced story of what we're following inside Solo Leveling Arise. So it's pretty cool. The only place where I really felt they missed so far has been this, and perhaps the introduction of the fire team's gimmick. I'm probably right there with you guys. I feel like it's a little bad, but having the white team be able to complete that doesn't take anything away. You just probably get a faster completion with the fire team. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. So take it as you want to, but have fun with the game, guys. Just have fun. Let these guys cook. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, guys. Peace.